Hello, world. How was your day? Mine is in the now. And this is a public disclosure for all the parties concerned and involved in certain situations and issues I've been dealing with in the past lifetime. Once, when I was fishing in Alaska on a boat, I got a ticket for row stripping. It was an El Nino year. Clinton was president, and the corporations were stripping row and bulldozing millions of pounds of perfect fish that was farmed and intended to come back to the same location annually. And it was a bumper crop year. There was more than enough for the people that were in the industry. There was me, a fishing boat captain, and another helper on the boat, another mate. We were selling our fish to a corporation that was buying it for the LDS church, and I was all the way in Alaska, and I was in Sitka, to be specific. They started preaching to us on the boat about their faith, and I acknowledged their faith and said I was from Thatcher, Arizona. I was from behind the Zion curtain. I know exactly what they're talking about, and I wasn't interested. The boat breaks down, but we're selling the fish, and the guys were buying them. They were looking at them personally and going, yeah, we can take that one will sell. No, that one has mold on it. Yes, that one will sell. Okay, the boat breaks down. We get towed into dock. There's a fish cop there. He gives us all a ticket. It was kind of funny because everybody else around us, the corporations, according to the state law, if the corporation can do it, the independent fisherman can do it. My point is, I feel and I allege the LDS Church was involved in that fish ticket because they did not appreciate me shutting them down when they were preaching. Yes, people have the freedom of religion. Yes, people have the freedom of choice. If you belong to an organization or a faith-based organization that does not allow you to question the authority of its organization, I feel it's unconstitutional, it's very un-American, and it undermines the origin of our government. Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, were free thinkers. They believed in the natural God, such as I do, the God of the present moment, the God of the now, the God of inclusion, and it's a different God than the Christian God, completely. So for people that say God is all God, that comes from the Roman Church, the Roman Catholic Church, and their contract with all the religions that will contract with them. And they've all agreed to something amongst themselves, which has nothing to do with me. So this is for the Pope, and it's going to cover a lot of issues. It's just personal stuff. I'm just gabbing. I'm getting it out of my head. I'm doing it in public so that it can be used in court as a record for the United States Department of Justice, State of Arizona, World Court, whoever wants to use it. I'm freely putting this out there. This is my point. This is a public disclosure. Your Holiness, I cannot afford to come and have a meeting with you. So my gift is that time to you that you won't have to waste. And my limitations are, I don't go by any other rules than the Constitution of the United States and the Arizona State Constitution and the United Nations agreements with that. Everything else has nothing to do with me. It's not my faith. I don't have faith in it. I have faith in those contractual obligations I just mentioned. And I'm supposed to have support. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, now this is for FBI agent, special agent, Dan Johnson. I know there's an investigation going on into alleged civil rights violations in Graham County due to my whistleblowing of, prosecuting attorney Kenneth Engel letting child molesters go on faith-based reasons, not subjecting them to all of the rules that a person like me is subjected to when they charge me for a small amount of marijuana that I, at the time, could not afford the card for, would not give me an attorney, did not make it, didn't write down felony, none of that stuff. Made it so it was just a misdemeanor and the town of Thatcher could deal with it and they could disenfranchise me as much as possible without putting my state constitutional values or my federal constitutional values of moral obligation into the case. They denied me my appeal twice. They denied me access to the court system for civil suits against other church members that they have a connection with. Not me. I have no connection except for family. I know people that are in the LDS Church. I think there are good people in the LDS Church. I think they need to start questioning the authority of their organization to be an actual free-thinking American. Otherwise, they just give that right up, straight up. They give it away by choice. So be careful. Don't give your rights away to your faith-based organizations without questioning why they're asking you to do that. It, to me, isn't rocket science. It's pretty simple. My remedy for my situation and my current status for all of this, I can't speak for the other people that were victims in allegations I had spoke of, and they have to get their own remedies. They have to speak for themselves. I can only speak for me. I want Kenneth Engel gone, not working as a prosecutor in this community anymore. I allege he takes state felonies, writes them down on paper as, or state misdemeanors, writes them down on papers as state felonies so that he can tag that person forever when he wants to, like it's a stock option for him. Okay, like we're now individual sovereign Arizonans are Kenneth Engel's stock option for his personal life, to pay for his personal life. Last I checked, the United States government wasn't supposed to give money to religions. If you allow this to happen, you are directly handing Kenny Engel a check for his faith, straight up. Because he spends some of the money there, and he's, I'm a good citizen. Look, stands up in the church, sits above everyone. Nobody can question his authority. So definitely, you're paying that guy so he can fulfill that position. Okay, in my allegation, anyways. That's how I see it. He fraudulently, allegedly, writes down felonies on misdemeanors. And when the 2 years runs up on the misdemeanor charge and the crime doesn't go away, he can go and he can have the cops pull the people over at their leisure, on their calendar, on their clock, when they're going to harvest their garden and pluck their fruit. Okay, this is what's going on in a simplified version. This to me is corruption. It violates these people's state sovereignty because the LDS Church has a contract with the Vatican. And they do not abide by the Arizona State Constitution and probably never have. But the people that are supposed to are being regulated by organizations that aren't regulated. It doesn't make sense to me to tell me I'm a free-thinking American and I'm in a country that can snatch people's kids without due process in the state of Arizona, do what they want, put the federal funding wherever they see fit, and ignore the minority, free-thinking individuals. The people that were told this country was founded by George Washington and Congress, and we're told we have freedom of choice and we have Bill of Rights and we have all these things. Were we misled? Are you thieving from us? What are you stealing? I don't appreciate the shystiness that goes on. It creates a trickle-down effect to the poorest, most uneducated person in the community. And that person's action mirrors the actions of government. It's as simple as that. So if you really are serious as an individual and you're trying to participate and be inclusive, you know, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, I voted for you. I'm going to include you in this too, because you're a big part of it. You're trying to give the country back to me and take it away from these people that have built their empires on our ignorance, on our lack of inclusion, on our disenfranchisement, capitalization of our disenfranchisement. Richard Mack, I've never spoken with you personally, but I know that from watching you in action, being a member of this church organization, trying to claim sovereignty, you are being deceitful to everyone. It's as simple as that. You noticed I've calmed down a lot. I got, a little more of my senses together. I'm not so excited. I'm getting a little numb. I don't know what to think about all this crosstalk and hearsay that nobody takes into a courtroom, and they just act like they want to act. In the federal government, if you're going to give the state of Arizona money to prosecute misdemeanors, you need to give people like me the same equal and fair option to prosecute the government employees that are violating our civil rights, or stop them from prosecuting the misdemeanors. Don't give them the money, because you're not giving it to everyone. You're giving it to faith-based religious organizations and private, probably secret groups like the Knights of the Templar. I was invited to join the Knights of the Templar. It's an honor. It's a very special honor. I can't accept it because I am an American. And if I belong to any other group, then I cannot properly live by the laws of this land. I can't appropriately do that. I can't be a national if I'm in one of those groups and I accept that contract with the Pope. I can't do it. Okay, so, just out of all good consciousness, out of all being fair to everyone, you like my activism, you like my martyrdom, okay, support it. Support my independence. Support my Americanism. Support my patriotic duties, and acknowledge your lack of them. It is what it is. Business is business. This is nothing personal. I don't appreciate having a misdemeanor for failure to appear stay on my record forever. Isn't there a statute of limitations? Aren't you supposed to be enforcing this? If you're going to give those people money to do their jobs, then you need to give money to the people that are supposed to be taking care of the cleanup of, statutory limitations, things like that, inclusively Department of Justice. This is kind of specifically for you, to let you know that I know what's up. And, in a general sense. And, I would love a day in court, but if I'm not going to get one, this is what my remedy is. The land that I paid the back taxes on may reach as property. I have all the paperwork if you care to send somebody over to look at it. You always want me to send you stuff. You always want me to write stuff down to complain. It's really hard for a person like me that has had the disabilities I've had, and been incarcerated most of my juvenile life, and reformed, to do stuff like that. But had that been said, you put a lot of money into me as a youth, and you stopped doing that to the other youths because it doesn't pay the bills for these other people. It doesn't continue the crimes. It eliminates the crimes. So they stopped it. I don't understand that. That's backwards thinking. You guys are doing one thing and telling us another in our education systems. You are deceiving us and lying to us from the beginning and giving as little funding to those organizations as possible while trying to give as much funding to these privately chosen faith-based organizations as you can possibly shove down their throats, put in their pockets. The cotton farmers, Graham County, for instance, they don't have drip systems. It's a water conservation area. Cotton is only 35 cents a pound on the world market. We pay millions of dollars as Americans to foreign countries for violating those World Trade Organizations, those United Nations things I was speaking of, those contractual agreements. We pay millions of taxpayer dollars to subsidize these privately chosen faith-based organization cotton farmers for growing a crop that is not sustainable. Okay, I have goji berries. I can replace that crop. Uses a lot less water. It creates jobs that people can actually have. It will pay for itself. It's sustainable agriculture. I want a meeting with the USDA so that I can get on with my permaculture and cottage industry, ideas, and try to help the disenfranchised people of this area, not hinder them by putting a $22 million gel in and no treatment facility, dragging your feet, because we know that's not paying your bills. We know what's paying your bills, Kenneth Engel, and like-minded individuals in the judicial system. I know that when I go into a courtroom and the last thing a judge says to me, or even just a courthouse, is "God bless you," I am in the wrong place. I wasn't there for religion. I wasn't there to find out why things work the way they work. I did that on my own. I just know that if I don't voice this publicly and let everyone know that, hey, I'm a little scatterbrained, I can be a little out there sometimes, but all in all, in general, I know what's up. So let's sit down at the bargaining table and let's figure this out, Graham County. I want all of the land I paid the back taxes on. I have the receipts. Okay, I have everything. You guys have on a map, it's BLM land. That's fraud. There's no BLM land down there. Also, when I had the mining claim and I tried to keep the hot tubs open, instead of asking Congress to shut down the property, you guys took it amongst yourselves locally to shut down the property, violating people's right to use public land, and shut down a cultural use hot tub area that I used as a child, that I tried to keep open for the public. And you kicked everyone out but me. You guys are using sleight of hand, judgment, prestidigitation of legislation. You're saying, oh, that's not federally acceptable, but then you run and stand behind your state sovereignty. Every time the feds say something to you, you guys look like a joke. Straight up, you are the biggest, I don't want to be a hater, but you are the biggest non-inclusive organizations, privately that I've ever ran into. And you operate in public. We need to start taking back our responsibilities, our personal responsibilities. We need to start getting more politically involved. We all need to vote. If you don't vote, don't talk to me. And if you want a form to register to vote, I'd be happy to hand it to you or tell you where to get it. You can get one at the post office, It's very important that you all vote, because we can change things locally if we just vote. I want the state of Arizona to let everybody vote that has a nonviolent crime, in prison or in jail, everybody, because these legislative laws affect their lives, and they should have some frequent reoccurrence of general principles to address it, like the state constitution says. They have a state sovereign right to vote. You can't say you're taking their vote away because the federal government says you can. I believe that's wrong. I believe that needs to be changed immediately. What you've done to the people for something that's not even in the now, in the present moment, is ridiculous. And it is in the now, in the present moment, contractually with the Pope, and with other privately chosen faith-based organizations and secret societies and things like that. But it isn't for the free-thinking individual. And we are the minority. We have to realize this has nothing to do with the color of your skin, has nothing to do with racism, has everything to do with information. Freedom is number one. And choice. Okay, I feel like I'm a very moral person. I have not slept with a woman that I haven't been married to since I was not married to the last one. That to me is moral. Okay, you can sit there and say, oh, he's immoral, he's all this, he's all that. If you don't know me, then that's just hearsay and it doesn't matter. So what you think about me is none of my business. But if you work for the government, What you think about me is everybody's business, okay? And how you treat me is everybody's business. That's the only place. You're the one that chose to work there. It is what it is. You know, Arizona's a right to work state. Apparently, they got some unions, and they're all government involved. And they got a big judicial one that doesn't want to say they're a union, but they're straight up a union. The Bar Association's a union, you know, a non-regulated union at that. That needs to be addressed. They need to have some regulations. They should not be able to go in there and prestidigitate, slide a hand, our Arizona Constitution with legislation. It should never happen. You know, we need to get some initiatives in this state. We need to vote in our counties that the state laws don't apply to our counties, where they say, oh, you have to go through all these hoops just to get an initiative signed. You can't just come and do one. They're doing that to stop you from changing things so that they can continue to build their empire on your back. You know, I'm letting y'all know this so that you can address it and deal with it. You know, to get over any problem, any addiction. Spirituality is an addiction, okay, period. It's a top behavior pattern, and somebody benefits from it, so they encourage it, and if they want to be a bully, they don't allow you to question their authority. That is the biggest bully move since the beginning of time, Pope. So, you know, if you bully people, other people are going to bully people. Your example is how other people act. So a lot of the problems we have in the world today come directly from the top and roll right down to the bottom. So now that you know that, now that I've exposed that, let's see what happens. This is a public disclosure for all individuals concerned and involved. Anybody else, go about your business. If it doesn't have anything to do with you, it's not related to you, doesn't even, whatever, no biggie, no judgment calls here. I don't want to be a hater. I don't want to be seen as somebody that hates people, that's racist, because I am not. I love everybody equally. I just dislike some people's actions. I just feel things need to be addressed. People need to talk about them. I did this in public so that I didn't have to write anything down. If any further information is needed by the Department of Justice or the FBI, please contact me. I will gladly give you copies of all my documentation. I want some inclusion here. I want to be involved as much as protocol allows. I see a courtroom at the end of the day somewhere, and it ain't for a crime I committed. It's for a crime somebody else committed. And, we can avoid that. We can remedy that. We're supposed to do that, this giant experimentation of Republican democracy. We're supposed to all be able to participate in the experiment. We're supposed to all be able to throw something in the petri dish. You've taken that away. You need to give it back. Or you're just lying to the world and America's a giant joke. Great for the money, but a giant joke. So that my country isn't a laughingstock, a joke, I have to do things like this so that people still realize, no, we're still here, we're still trying, we're still struggling, the struggle is real, freedom is still the dream, and we do not have it. It's as close as you can get contractually, sleight of hand, behind room, closed doors deals, but it's not what they say it is. And I don't know what to think about that. Everybody have a nice day.